Hi, everyone. We are Karen and Andy Nielsen from Finding Eternal Freedom. Thank you for joining us today. We are discussing some of the teachings of Jesus from the Gospel of Mark. This week we are studying from Mark chapter 14, verses 1 through 11.
Now the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread were only 2 days away, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were scheming to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or the people may riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly.
"Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them anytime you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her."
Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted to hear this and promised to give him money. So he watched for an opportunity to hand him over.
The corresponding gospel passage in John chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, says that the woman who broke the jar and poured perfume on Jesus' body was in fact Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus.
6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus lived, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Here a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume.
So combining the two accounts, Jesus was in Bethany, where Lazarus, Martha, and Mary live, at the home of Simon the leper, at a banquet in Jesus' honor. Simon must have been healed by Jesus and no longer unclean in order for a banquet to occur at his home.
This event was shortly before Jesus' betrayal, trial, and crucifixion. Jesus had previously told his disciples 3 different times that he would be killed and would rise again, but they just weren't getting it.
Mary was different. I think she understood Jesus' words in a way that the others did not. At this banquet, she brings out a very expensive jar of perfume, breaks the neck of the jar, and begins pouring it on Jesus' feet. This nard, or spikenard, was a highly aromatic perfumed oil that was made from a plant native to the Himalayan mountains of India, some 4,600 miles away. Can you say you've ever given away more than a whole year's wages to a worthy cause? I know I haven't.
Me either. Mary went all in. She basically barged into a group of men who were meeting around a table and did something highly unexpected, without wondering, doubting, or caring one bit what others might think of her. She was expressing her full love and devotion to Jesus in a way that she could, and she spared no expense.
How easy it is for us to doubt that we're even doing the right thing when we begin to feel especially generous. But God says in Numbers chapter 18, verse 29, "You must present as the Lord's portion the best and holiest part of everything given to you."
Washing the feet of others was considered the work of slaves, and only prostitutes and promiscuous women took their hair down in public in that culture. Mary was willing to risk her reputation to honor and worship the Lord. What are we willing to risk?
John's account says it was Judas who first complained that the perfume and money was wasted. The other disciples chimed in. The disciples were not only demeaning Mary, but they were also demeaning Jesus, because in essence they were saying to honor Jesus in this way is a waste. Do we consider our own giving to the work of the church a joy or a waste?
Jesus had a much different idea. First, he rebuked them for not understanding things the way Mary did. He He said, "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. You will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will always be told in memory of her."
We live in a society driven by personal effort. The more you put in, the more you get out. So I am tempted to think, what can I do to be more like Mary? But maybe that's missing the point. Maybe the answer lies in living life with a reckless, abandoned devotion to Jesus. Then the work that Christ does through me will fall into place.
Right. I can't do anything for God, but I can allow Christ to work through me. God does all the work in me. We are not accepted or rejected by God based on our personal strengths or weaknesses. Instead, because Jesus paid the sin debt on the cross, we are accepted by God based on Jesus in my place.
We bring honor and give glory to the Lord by worshiping Him, by loving other believers, by becoming like Christ, by serving others with our gifts, and by telling others about Him.
He is so worthy. Romans chapter 11, verse 36 says, "For everything comes from Him and exists by His power and is intended for His glory."
Give glory to Christ this week in everything you do.